George W. Bush does stand alone. Is he determined or delusional? A latter-day Churchill or a poor reflection of his father? John Nichols, let me begin by reading you what Republican Senator and possible presidential candidate Chuck Hagel said involving the impeachment of George W. Bush. He said, you can impeach him, and before this gets over, you might see calls for his impeachment. It depends on how this goes. Now listen, John, to what Chuck Hagel said this weekend when pressed on the topic of impeachment.
No president can dictate to this country, nor should he. Any president who says, I don't care, or I will not respond to what the people of this country are saying about Iraq or anything else, or I don't care what the Congress does, I am going to proceed. If a president really believes that, then there are, what I was pointing out, there are ways to deal with that.
John, should we expect to hear more talk of the president's impeachment as Democrats start consolidating power, Republicans start to get antsy as we move to 2008, and as we move into a long, hot summer?
I think it may be a real tough spring, frankly. Look, impeachment always happens toward the end of a term. The discussion arises when a president has made a lot of enemies, not merely in the opposition party, but also in his own party, and thus the base of defense starts to fall apart. There's no question we will hear a much more aggressive discussion of impeachment as the spring turns towards summer. I'm not saying we'll reach the impeachment moment, but I have no doubt that in coming weeks you will see an article of impeachment submitted by some probably more renegade Democratic member of the House, and with that a growing discussion. And I have to be blunt with you, the Gonzales circumstance is really central to this, because while it certainly doesn't go to the core of what most Americans object to with President Bush, it does sum up a lot of their concerns, and you hit it right on the head. It's the arrogance and the refusal to cooperate with Congress.
Well, actually, you know, that was Chuck Hagel that said that. I'm trying to think back through the Clinton administration. There were a lot of Republicans suggesting that Bill Clinton should be impeached starting in 1993, 1994. Mm-hmm. I never heard a Democrat say anything about it, and that was way before Monica Lewinsky. That was the China scandals. That was the fundraising scandals. But no Republican ever came out and said what Chuck Hagel's saying right now. And Hagel's not some left-wing lunatic.
No Democrat. Democrat came out and said that about
I'm sorry, no Democrat ever said that about Bill Clinton. What's going on?
Well, there's a subtlety here that's important to understand, and that is that Bill Clinton always practiced the care and feeding of fellow Democrats. He was very conscious of them, even as he tried to triangulate with Republicans. George Bush has lost a lot of his connections to his Republican allies, and you see that not merely in Chuck Hagel, but watch what you saw over the weekend with Orrin Hatch and Arlen Specter and Lindsey Graham coming out and saying incredibly aggressive and negative things as regards Alberto Gonzales.